May I have your
Stop talking.
second time? Thank you. Okay, so you should be getting out your method section. Does everybody have it out now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So today what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you guys how to write a method section. We're writing it a little different than how you guys did in 9th grade with Mr. Solis, where you did 1, we did this, 2, add this, 3, measure this. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to use a paragraph format. All right. So right now, what I want you guys to do, pencils down, I'm going to write up here. I'm going to do the first paragraph for you guys. Okay. Because we did that together. We did all the controls together. And what I want you to do is while I'm writing up here, you are going to be active listeners. Okay? I want you to notice what are some things that I'm doing that you're probably going to need to do yourself when you write the rest of your paragraphs, and what is different than when you write an English paper. Okay? All right. So, ready? I'm starting. Okay. So, I have to write the methods, and it says, to use past tense. Okay, so the first thing we did was we had to use burette. Okay, so I'm going to actually use a transition. To determine, you shouldn't be writing this, just listen right now. To determine the positive controls, we first added, let me see how many drops we added. Okay, so I'm gonna look back on my materials list. We first added 10 drops of burette to an empty test tube. Along with, let's see, how many drops? We used 5 drops of albumin. Okay? All right. So that was when we first did that. Then we did another control. So I'm going to use the transition next. Okay. Next, we added 2 to 3 drops. Let me check my materials list. 2 to 3 drops of iodine. 2 5 drops of starch solution. In an empty test tube. Okay? Test tube. Okay. Okay, and then the last test. So we did 3 controls. So the last test, so I'm going to use the transition. Lastly, we added 2 to 3 mils of Sudan 3 to corn oil. Okay, so now I'm going to check my rubric just to make sure that I got everything. So I am including the controls. I have detailed, I think this is pretty detailed because I'm giving the amounts. Okay, detailed lab procedures. Okay, and I'm going to have to make sure when I start writing that I talk about the multiple trials. All right, so that is how I would write my first methods, my paragraph, my first methods paragraph. Deontay, can you get your head up, please? Thank you. So now, who can tell me, what did I do that was different or unique about writing a lab procedure versus like writing English paper? Ooh, that's a lot of hands. Let's go with Bernice.
Miss Shao, I noticed that you use the word we instead of I.
Yeah, we use we instead of I. Why did I use we instead of I? How come I didn't say I added, I did this, Naz?
Because it's past tense.
Not because it's past tense. I know I told you guys to look out for past tense. Because we're in a group. We were in a group, right? The whole time. Okay, so we use we instead of I. That's definitely one. What else, Millie? What do you notice?
Look back at the materials list and added the amount of the chemicals.
Yep. Okay, so I have to keep checking back to my materials list, and you guys will need to do that as well. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Ooh, Stephanie.
I saw that you look at the rubric while you were writing.
Yes, okay. So you should still be looking at a rubric for English paper too, okay? But I did go back and check the rubric, okay? And that's why we have little check boxes. You can even check them off as you do them. Anything else? You got one more?
You use a lot of transition words like next and first.
So in methods, you're talking about steps, so you have to use a lot of transitions. Next, lastly, first, okay? Anything else? Okay? Yeah, Lachey.
You were really detailed.
Super detailed because, well, actually, I was really trying to push for advanced, which is including clear and easily replicable lab procedures, right? If I gave this to somebody, they could probably redo this lab, right? And that's the point of the method section. Any questions on how to write it? All right, so what we're going to do the rest of the period is you are going to have about 25 minutes to begin your method section, okay? I've done the positive controls. You'll need to do negative controls, and then you'll need to do the steps of however you conducted your inquiry. Last chance for clarifying questions. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
How many paragraphs should it be?
It should probably be like, depending on how many foods you tested, okay, and how many macromolecules you tested for, about 4 to 5 paragraphs, this section. Yes?
How much time do we have?
25 minutes again, okay? So I'm going to set the timer for about 15 minutes, and we'll do a check-in at 15 minutes. Yes, sir?
Do you have to use transition words?
Yes, and remember I gave you that blue piece of paper when you guys wrote for a transition. You could pull that out if you have it, and then you could use that to help you write, okay? And hopefully we'll get computers next week so that you can type it up. Any other questions? All right. Mario, you understand what we're doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, get to work. So you want to start with the controls, the positive controls, and you can write like what I have on the board. Let's put this away. You know what we're doing? I don't know. Do you know how to start off with? Okay. So you could get that blue paper out that I have for transitions, all right? Get to work. Let's get to work. Raymond, get to work.